Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network here, where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. I had a really warm day today, but I took a swim in a lake and feel really nice now. How are you, Jan?
I'm good as well. It actually cooled off a little bit here, but I still took a little bit swim in the canals here in Amsterdam.
Right.
So that was
Yeah.
nice. About the same temperature in the water and in the air.
Similar here.
Yes.
Surprisingly similar.
But much warmer in your place.
No. Yeah.
So what are you having planned for today?
Following last week's work on scientific papers, I'm thinking I'm going to continue with that because I have kind of improved my workflows slightly. And also I'm thinking both doing the authors of the papers as well as working on the main topics to make them a little bit more specific. So combining that with a bit more queries to see how one can easily build a workflow around that. And you, what have you planned?
I'm planning on querying a little bit, and I'm going to show two ways of querying of the types of properties. So not directly for one property, because you might not even know what property you want. So this is sort of either part of an exploratory search, or if you perhaps want to use it outside of Wikidata.
Right. So like the last time we did, I think we once did like queried for the last used properties on things to just find things that we didn't expect.
Yeah, something like that, but a little bit different.
Right.
So I'm going to actually show here in my screen from an example. So this is, if you've been to Stockholm, you might have seen this. This is the big white golf ball in the middle of the city. It's called in Swedish still Globen, even though it's officially changed name a month ago to Avicii Arena. It's to raise awareness of mental health. And it's a quite stunning sort of building. You can see here the image. But of course, as we have many other, we have an interior and we have a video, and I think we have pronunciation audio, nighttime view, and view from, and an aerial view. So we have a lot of images here. And if you're creating perhaps an app or something, perhaps you want all of them. And I'm going to show you two tricks of doing that with the help of the Wikidata query service. And for one of them, we're actually going to see here, if you go to the property for image, it has one very neat thing. And the neat thing is that it too has statements. So you can sort of find things. And the one we're going to use here is the Wikidata property linking to a representative image. So we're going to find all the properties that have this. And that's a quite simple thing. But then we're going to build upon that and to also get some good values out of it. So I'm starting here in the Wikidata query. I'm going to stop this one, and like you'll find it here, and start writing, and then control space to get this thing. And I'm going to go for here. Take this to start build up a little bit. Get the service. I'm going to remove this one and just use English for now. And I'm going to do here, just to make it easier to sort of follow, I'm going to add, instead of calling it item, I'm going to call it property item and property item label, so you can understand what I'm doing later on, or perhaps a little bit easier, I hope. And then I'm going to query property items that are instances of what we just saw here, this. So we'll go for instance of P31. And then it was Wikidata property linking to representative image. If I do this now, I'll see all the possible properties that we could get. So let's run it and see. So yes, so 45 different kinds of image properties. Not all of these, of course. I don't think we have any item that have all of them. But now I'm going to show you how do I then get something with all of this from one item. And the item that I want to use is going to be, that's going to be the Avicii Arena. I cannot spell the Avicii Arena. There we go. And it should have a property with an image.
Right.
And then here's the little trick, because the property here is what is the VDT thing. And what we want is the VD, because that's the thing that has the VDT with this. So to do that, we'll select the property item, and this one should have something with this. And here's the little trick in, we have something called Wikibase : and I think it's direct claim.
Yeah.
And now if I run this, as you see here, the same as before, but only with the, oh no, this should be property, like that. So only the ones that are also over there. And then of course, let's give me the image as well. And perhaps I should even go with the property here so you can actually see the difference. So if I run this now, I double. Let's see if this. So five results, and here you can see. So its property has the one we use when we query, WTDT, T for truthy, I believe, and then the item that has the.
I think if you hover over it, you will see the full URI below, actually.
Yes. So yeah. You see it's small down in the left corner. It says prop direct, and if I go to this, it says entity P18. So this one would take you to the page for it. And then we see here now that we have 5 different images. And if I go, when we see this little logo, we know that we can go to the image grid. And I'm so zoomed in, so it's not really a grid, but still, these are the 5 that were on the item. So this is one of the ways you can do it. And of course, you can go, I also have the Swedish Museum of Natural History. We'll just change that. And I'll run it again, and it's going to be different things. We get 6 now instead. And if I go to the image grid again, you'll see we have, now we also get the logo, some locator map, a plan view, interior, and an aerial view of it. But I'll switch back to the Avicii Arena again, because it has also some other things which we're going to use now. Because perhaps you want all of the media, everything that's on Commons. And if we go back to the image here again, we can see here in the top, it has the data type Commons media file. And you can actually query for this as well. So this will then hopefully give me a little bit more. So we're going to try to change my query. So this is the thing that I'm going to remove. Otherwise, it will be more or less the same. And here I want to go with Wikibase property type.
All right.
And then I believe it's also Wikibase Commons Media here in the bottom.
Right.
And a dot there, and hopefully it'll give me some. Yes, so now we also got the video and pronunciation audio.
This is a nice way to do it, because another way would be to do it with a. You can actually do that with the instance of a property, because I think there is one that says link to commons, but this is actually a much better way, because this is like hard coded into Wikibase itself.
Yes, so this will not fail if we missed to add it to a new property or anything like that.
Exactly.
So this will take everything that's actually. Sometimes there might be good reasons for that you don't want it, because we might model it in a very clever ways. So you can try both. Let's actually try the other one.
This is essentially the data type of the property.
Yeah. And here it's called property type instead. But let's do what you asked. Let's go with P31 again.
Right.
And then we'll check the image here, because this was the one you were thinking about, Wikidata property to link to commons.
Yeah, that might have been it. Let's see, we got several results in the first run. Let's see if they differ. I imagine they won't.
Property to link.
Maybe we even get more things.
Here we go. Let's see. So let's run it.
I guess we could get it for, yeah. So I think we
because
got tabular
category.
data.
And so we got two categories here. We got the commons category and category for the view. So that's a good reason why you might not want this if you don't want the categories. But if you're trying to reuse this in an external app, you might really want this, because that will give you some really deep data that you could link from your app to this.
Yeah, I think, for example, the tabular data would only appear in this one. So, for example, if you have a GeoJSON file, a map file, or tabular data or something like that.
Yeah. And you could imagine that if we have like subclasses of maps, that you might need to do a property path here, perhaps. I'm not sure how flat we model this. So if you try out on another topic, let's check. Let's put in, because this one had some maps. So copy this one again. Go back to query service and see what we get. 9 results again. We got the map. So this one wasn't. And yes, and here we'll also have two categories for the interiors. And a gallery.
And a gallery.
Yep. So here we got a lot of different things. And if I show this one, though, in the image grid, I don't think these will show up. So then I will only see 5 things here, and the other because they are not really commons files.
Yeah.
Just links to it. Yes.
Yeah. Can the image table, the image grid display video?
Let's
Here's
see.
Something that.
So it had this one didn't have a video, but Avicii Arena had a video. So let's see if it actually plays. So I'll go with this. We'll get 9 results again. This one is a video. We can see, and if I go to the grid, it shows it, but it doesn't play it.
Oh, interesting.
If I press this one, no, this is just some preview. So it cannot play it yet. That it should be a small enhancement,
It should.
I guess. But let's go back to, where did I want to go back to? When this one was, well, let's see. No. Yes, so we'll change this one to the Wikidata property. And what was it for? Linking. There, let's run that one, and then we'll only get the images. And I'll share this one in the, if you want to try it out. This is the one. So if you want to follow along, you have a head start. And now I want to go back here to see all the different types again. So I'll just comment these out. And I guess I can run it like this. It will be empty headers. So here we have, again, the 45 different types. Because I noticed for many things, for example, the Swedish Museum of Natural History, we have a lot of images on commons, but they're not used with this detail on commons. So let's see if we can find anything more on commons to add to this. So today I added the logo just before we started to give a few more results, but I also noticed there were like 10 subcategories. So perhaps we can send something more. Where do we have it? So this is the commons category. Yes. Oh, this was small. Let's zoom in. Perhaps 1, 2 times. There we can see. So birds, not going to be the dome. The exterior might have a few other things. So what did we have? What could we imagine? We had the logo and the locator map. Perhaps we can find a detail map or place name sign or location map. Ooh.
Call it.
Yeah. Or an icon. The plan view we had there, nighttime view should be possible, and perhaps a panoramic view. Photosphere 3D model, maybe. Winter view. Or smaller. Oh, okay, so let's see. Again. So let's start with the bottom here. Now here's a tricky one. So we have an exterior and we have an interior. The question is, should we move everything with exterior and interior to them? So like, I think we should. So I have the catalog here. Now there's going to be a few commons editing instead. So catalog is, I think it's a gadget on commons. And when you have it activated, you can just click here to select it. So let's see if we can move a few exterior images. Fortunately, when there are long names, it takes up a lot of the screen. Well, we definitely have a lot of interior here as well, so that's good. We can move them. So these are some other signs. Monogram. I think we had something for monogram. Let's remember that.
I think so as well.
And here's some sort of other sign. Yeah, let's just start moving these two to the exterior. Oop. Making 2 quick edits. Done.
And you even got the button in Swedish there.
Yes, I should change my interface here to English for your convenience, all viewers. Let's see if that works. It's loading. There we go. There we go. Let's move a few of the interior as well first then. It's still loading here because I haven't got there. Oh, and there also we see a little tricky thing. We saw quickly the SDC thing, and it moved back and is behind the catalog, so we can't use them both at the same time. But we saw a lot of interior images, so let's just quickly select them and move. Here we have boom, 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 boom. Very hard to... Well, this one is really interior. I don't think these detailed things should go there.
No.
This one should. This one definitely. This one. And this one. All right. So interior, and yes. So the three buttons that you have, you can see that it also have a little tooltip. When I hover over the minus, it says remove. When I hover over the arrow, it says move, and plus, it says copy. So you can choose if you want to add it or remove it from this one and go to add it to the new one, or only remove it from this one. So in this case, I'm going to move it. So boom, and this edits very quickly. But 29 before I even had to scroll it.
That's nice.
That's really nice. I have no idea how it actually manages with that quick.
I think it's because there are more edits on Wikidata, essentially, rather than anything else.
Yeah.
Because everything gets throttled on Wikidata so that everyone is a little slower, but the servers can keep up.
Yep. So let's see, go to more details here to get to the image. And check back here. Did we have monogram?
We have something similar, at least. Yeah, well, we even have it.
We have it. So let's add the monogram of a person's. No, this is not a person. This is a... All right. It says should be a person's or a studentverbindung.
A student organization.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
My German is a little rusty.
Yeah. We should change the type constraint perhaps then, because I think monogram is quite common for a lot of old organizations.
Indeed.
And the Swedish Museum of Natural History, it's quite old. Well, let's see. What else did we have? We had no more maps, I believe, in this overview thing.
Do we have a category for maps, maybe?
Maybe we do. So we had fish, fossils. Oh, no, I don't want to go there. Can I close this now? I cannot, because it hides behind my sharing. How do can I resize? Oh no, it's too stupid. It didn't move.
Can you reload the page?
It's stuck. Well, I guess if I reload it, it remembers. Well, if I...
No, if you do a hard reload.
Let's see if it pops in.
Yeah.
No, wait.
That one popped in.
That
That
now
one
I
popped in
actually
as
have
well.
it. Yes, but now
Okay,
I
great.
had it resized. So let's see if I can make it better optimized here. There you go. History. Did we have any historical? Oh, this was just science. History of the collections. No, that's
The
not.
copyright here is questionable.
Yes. Something else from the interior.
Introduction gallery. What could that be?
I don't know. Oh, well, this was all the files we just moved, so that's not really good, I think. All of
None of the great of the large hole they got. No.
I think. All right. I think the
Oh, it's an actual gallery.
the structure of the many of these should probably be either under the
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Under a collection.
yes. What's this? MISC? No. Well, perhaps we didn't have anything else we could add from the Swedish Museum of.
Not even a nighttime view.
No, that was a little bit strange. Or a winter view.
Yeah, we should send someone there.
Yes.
It's not that hard to get to from Stockholm.
I was imagining we should have a lot more older images of it. Let's see if we can find anything from the. Let's see how the Swedish castle. That should be heavily.
We should have even paintings of that, so to say.
Well, this is the old. What's.
Mm-mm.
I'm not even sure what it's.
I think it's just a royal castle. I think that's the new official name. Or of the new building, so to say.
Let's search for that. See.
Yeah.
Now, this is the old one.
Might it say it followed by?
Yes. It should. It should.
Hopefully.
If not, we cannot add it because we don't know the new name.
No, indeed.
Replaced by Stockholm Palace. All right. There we have it. Stockholm Palace. All right.
Replaced by, okay.
And for anyone who's watching this and wonder why we are so confused is because we should have probably add it here in the also known as. I think the most common thing that you say in Swedish is actually just slottet, the castle. Because if you say that, I think everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, depending on where you are, but if you're in Stockholm, indeed.
Yes. Let's add it because that should be someone who's not agreeing may revert me, but at least now I can find it. So here we have it. Oh, all right. So
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yes, I don't think this is the best one for image, but this one should definitely go to aerial view. Let's see, do we have aerial view? Somewhere here. We have a nice nighttime view.
And
Panoramic? I'm not sure I'm agreeing this is panoramic. This
But
one
that
could go
could-
to image.
exactly.
So we'll do a little bit of swapping around here. All right, so let's start with taking this. And what can I... Let's see. If I move this to the same 18, do P18, and I want to move it. That worked. All right. And this is a thing that we've shown a lot before, but I'm going to see if I think I have a link here. So this is the user script. It's so good. And then we had this one. I want to move that to aerial view. I don't remember what it was, but we had one over here. Here we had the aerial view. Oh, that's a quite new one.
Indeed, surprisingly new one. There could maybe be a lot of images one could move.
Yeah. So we'll move this one, and then we'll reload and see how it looks again. Yeah, much better main image.
Indeed.
Nice interior.
No maps? Or one map,
we do have some sort of locator map there.
But
it doesn't really locate it. It's just,
no, it's not about the castle.
No, this is where Stockholm City is. We should find a better one. It's a beautiful nighttime view, though.
Indeed.
I don't think we can do better. Oh, we might find a better resolution, but yes. And then the aerial view, and that was it. So let's go to the commons category and see what we can find. And this one should have even more subcategories, I would think. Oh, this is also a good image.
Yeah, but it's not as clear.
No.
What's the castle?
Hidden between other things, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, here we have some maps. So does this... not the best.
No.
A lot of interiors here. Oh, next page. I'm not sure if we have anything for, like, we had that for both the Avicii Arena and Swedish National Museum of History. They're small models of the buildings.
Is that a 3D model?
No, so 3D model should be an actual 3D file.
Okay, but I think there is one for 3D image.
Let's see.
Or like an image of a 3D model that's, or if it's been removed now, as we have 3D models on Commons. Maybe it's an old one.
So this 3D model, I think this one is
an actual 3D model.
Yeah, so this would have the file.
Yeah.
And did it have
related image? That's an interesting one as well.
Yeah. Right, back to it. So is this a plan view? No, this is the sectional view. We have something for that.
But it's just of a part of the castle?
Yes. So depending on your castle, it must be a part of it.
Right, but it's
just one side of it.
Yeah. It's a sectional view of a side of it.
Yes. Do we have any better sectional views? Here's something. Oh, this is great. So this should be the plan view image. So, all right. So let's see. Let's go here. Long file name, and copy it, and add plan view image. Now I guess we could probably qualify which floor it is on.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the same. I wonder even if we will get a property constraint.
I'm not sure. We don't know which floor this is on.
Let's
But
see.
I would guess it's the first floor because it says courtyard in the middle here. Well, we would say that on any floor, I guess. Let's see what happens when I publish this.
Let's see if we get one. Oh, it doesn't say
No
anything.
warning. No. Let's check this one to see if it says if you should even. None of these have anything.
None of the examples. Okay, interesting.
Well, I'll continue editing on this, and I'll show you the important thing, how you will actually find. And you can we have many kinds of these, so you can query for other types of.
Yeah, as you were showing, I was thinking about you could actually write a query where you would already have selecting the entity you want to look for images for, and then just query for image properties or commons media properties that aren't used already.
Yep.
To only return. This is the ones you have to look for.
Yes. And do a working list as we often do with the queries. Yeah. All right. That's my little tip for the day.
Right. So I showed last week a tool about, let's quickly bring it up, to distinguish outer from the outer strings in papers. So usually they say a name, it could be, let's say, Albin, and then there is actually an item about that Albin, and you need to connect them and find them. So I showed this tool, but I built a bit of a workflow around it, which I wanted to show today, as well as working a bit on main subjects around a similar workflow we looked at a while back. So a while back, we showed how to combine Wikidata's powerful search interface with actual SparkQL. So we essentially wrote a text query inside of SparkQL to speed it up. So today I want to combine those two workflows to just being able to make papers more complete. But let's start with a query I did a while back. So this is a query that...
You mentioned in the end in the last show that you got an idea for a workflow. Is this the one?
That's hard to tell. But
All right, I'm developed during the week.
I'm pretty sure that this is the ID.
All right.
It wasn't a super fancy ID, but essentially the idea is that, okay, let's pick a subject, something that would be used as a main subject on a bunch of scientific papers, like Glacier. It's a rather common one. And then for that, let's list all the outer strings and rank them by the ones that are most common.
Yeah.
And then you pick off the first ones, and then you just do massive progress actually in entire areas of scientific papers. Yeah. So that's the query we want to write, but we want to add some things to make it even more useful. And we will get to that later down the road.
So if you're watching and you want to know how Albin came to that idea, watch the previous episode, and in the end you'll see the epiphany you had.
And you can find all our... Let's see, is it down?
Yes.
There. In our list of episodes we got there, where we also list all the various tools we're using. So if you're looking for inspiration using a specific tool, you can go there and have a look. It's grow every week. But let's start with this query. So what did we want first? We wanted outer strings, and we wanted them for a particular subject. So I'm gonna go with star, as I usually do when I do a bit of exploration. When my query isn't finished, I just select everything. Where something, and I'm not here gonna select instance of scientific paper because it essentially does very little. Primarily because outer strings are usually only used on scientific papers. As well as scientific papers, there are just so many of them that we doesn't really speed up the main subject query I will add here. So I'm gonna do here item, which is essentially a type of work, and do dt main subject. that, and then specify this. And I'm gonna say glacier, and essentially because this returns fewer items than if I would say instance of scientific paper, this will be good enough because it will just make the query faster.
Yeah.
And let's use like that. And VDT, we also wanted the outer strings. That's what we want to work on. String, name string, it's called. Okay. So here we got main subject glacier. And here we actually want to select that. String, something like that. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna put a limit here. That should actually limit us mostly to scientific papers because this is just so commonly used here compared to unorthodox things. And I'm just gonna show what this will return to us. So here essentially we got a paper. We aren't actually interested in the individual papers, so we will filter those out in a moment. But we are essentially interested in the strings here. And now there is a lot of these names that appear on several papers with main subject glaciers. So those we want to merge, and we want to get like a count that we can sort after. So if, for example, Edward here or Peter, they have written 16 papers with the main subject glacier, then they will get the number 16 here, and they will rank with that number. So if someone got more, they would be above, and we can start working on those faster. So that's what we want to accomplish here. So let's first select, we want the outer string, but we only want one of them. Then we want to count those. Count outer string as, let's say, count. Like that. That should actually be enough to count them, but we need also to group by here to merge them. Actually, we would get an error here because it expects us to group them when we're doing something like this. So group by, and we want to group them by the only variable we're selecting that's our left, which is outer string. Let's run this. We aren't sorting them here yet. So for example, we got Barbara here, she got 1, but we also got someone here with 11 and so on. So I'm gonna make a line break here to make it simpler for myself. Order by descending desk. And then count. And if we run this, we get a nice list here. And for example, now I could take this name here, and I could go here and paste it in, but we want to make it even simpler. So we want to be able to just click a URL here, go on with our workflow, and
so the tool allows you for building up.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those kinds of tools.
So let's see what actually happens here in the background when we paste in a name. I'm first gonna sign in, so we get that type of. The link is a bit different when you sign in. Like that, you see it added something to the link. I'm gonna paste the name in. I'm gonna click here, and I'm gonna take notice of what do the URL look like. It takes a while, but it does a lot of work. Yeah, so it's rather small on your screen now, but if I go to this URL, I can see that it has a parameter here, it's called name. And that's what we have to notice, because everything, if we would paste an author name in here, would stay the same, but that name would change. So if we can use that name and build this URL, as well as making it clickable in the query interface, we can just go down one-on-one and click on them. So let's see what we can do in that area. So we essentially want to create a new variable from the outer string. So let's use bind, which we can use to build variables. If we have a constant which is predefined, we can use values, but in this case, bind is a perfectly good thing to use. And I want to merge two strings essentially. I want to merge like the URL, and I want to merge it with the actual name. And to do that, we use something called concat. It's a function. It takes how many strings you got, and it just appends them. So if you have 1 and 2, it will append the second to the first one. If you have 3, it will append that upon both of them, and so on. But we have it quite easily because we actually only have 2. So first we got, that's just the URL. That's all the variables we needed in the URL, which we essentially discovered by just trying out the tool. Then we want to do the outer string. That's a little more tricky because if we take a look at the URL here, we can see that it just doesn't take the name. It actually does a little more. So it replaces the space with a plus. And if you would have special characters in your name, it would also encode that to work in a web browser. But SparkL just happens to have a function for that, which is called encode for URI. Incredibly self-explanatory and simple. And let's do it. Just does that
And
for
this
us.
just solves it for you?
Yeah,
So
that encodes it exactly. As let's call it URL because it's short. We have to do one more thing here, alone here by group by, and here up select. First of all, we want it. We want to select it URL. Secondly of all, we also, because the group by always has to contain everything that we are selecting, but that isn't a count or another type of aggregation, that's it called up here. We need to add URL here as well. And let's do this. This won't be perfect. You will see a major flaw when we do this. So let's run this. And it will take a while. There we go. We get a lot of results. You can see that, oh, great, we got a link, but there's one problem with the link. We can't click it because in the world of RDF and SparkL, it's still just a string. It's not a URI, not something that links somewhere, connects to something. So let's change that as well. And we essentially do that by changing the data type to it from a string to URI, meaning that the editor will believe that this is a RDF URI. So we just wrap the entire concat here in the function URI because it will change the data type. So let's run this now. And wait a while because it won't have cached this. Here we go. And you can see now we can click the URL. So if we want to work on this, we can just pick a name after a name here. I just opened it in a new tab by right-clicking on it. And it will load in the tool and we can start working. And when we are done, we can just move back to our query, continue with the next one. And because you rank them after the most common ones in a particular subject, you're actually getting the most bang for your effort, so to say, because you can start out with those that are in a lot of them and then just move down. And at one point, if you have a small subject, you will actually be done. But this is a great way. Let's see if it loads here, actually. It seems to... not be on its best day today, tool font. I'm going to click another link. Okay, I showed that last week, so it doesn't do much difference.
It loads for me.
How it looks for you? Oh, maybe use something out here. Let's see. I want to show another trick that is a bit of a new feature of the query service before I share this, because this is great when you do queries. If you're like me, you usually have a lot of queries open in tabs.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so before I share it, and I think you should always do this nowadays when you share a query, because if I do, I can do a new type of magic comment here that is just title in English, title, like that. And here I can actually write a title for this query. So I can say like most common outer strings used on works with. Oh, this is becoming long. Something like this. I'm gonna rerun this query, and you might notice something differently when it has rendered. So you can essentially now assign a title to your query, and it becomes very useful as soon as you have run it. Let's see, it gave us a lot of result, this one. We should maybe have added a limit, but here we go. Let's see if I did it all right. Yes. So you can see, if you're paying attention here, you can see two things. One is this blue area down here that it has actually, you can actually read already here what the query does. But, and to me most importantly, you can see it in the title of your tab. And if you have a lot of tabs open, let's say we have another query here, and maybe another query, and another one, they all won't say Wikidata query service, but they can actually show most common outer strings. You can just hover the ones you need and go to the one you need before clicking in all of them and see where was it go. So that's a great tip, I believe. It's a couple of weeks old, the feature, but it's rather new. And now I can actually, let's see if I can share this on my second screen, which is a little hidden. Click. You're gonna need to be patient. Here we go. That should be this query, so you can both see this query demonstrated, but you can also see the demonstration of this new title feature that we now got in queries, which I believe is just such a great improvement. Right. Another thing I think I don't have as much time as I hoped for, but another thing that's very important when I do scientific papers, trying to improve them in general, is to have a rather specific main subject. So here I'm using something very generic like glacier, but very often these are about a particular glacier. And to me, it's very important to capture that so we can actually find it from that specific glacier item. So it's something that I have ended up doing a bit of workflow for. So I'm gonna create a new query, C, select.
I also ran over a little of your time, so you can expand it a little bit.
Yeah, let's see. I might make it just a demonstration. We might not do the editing. Let's see here. So we want scientific papers. There are a couple of problems with scientific papers, one of them being that there are a lot of them, so they become hard to query for. Something, however, that we did a while back was which you can also find in that big link of episodes, is to combine a query with Cyrus Search, which is the kind of the search interface for Wikidata. So if we just head over to Wikidata, we can actually write a query here. So I want scientific papers, essentially. But I don't want to use SparkQL to just get scientific papers because it will be very slow and give me a lot of results. So I can use something here called has VDBB for Wikibase statement. And I can say should be, I think it's that. And here I can say instance of is P31. Scientific paper, I don't know. I'm gonna search for it. Scientific. Oops. Let's see if I got that right.
No, you missed the C.
No, I missed the C.
In the beginning, SC.
Right.
There we go.
Scholar article. That's the one. So I'm gonna copy the QID. And I should be able to do like this. Has VB statement P31 is equal to this QID. And yeah, so we got a bunch of scientific papers here, and essentially this is a lot faster than doing it with SparkQL. So now we want to combine those two, because inside of SparkQL we can actually do searches like this. So that's what I want to do, to just narrow my query down to scientific papers. And that's a service. And can I get autocomplete here? Yes, I can. Let's see, does it have something for this? That's for geographic locations. That as well. That's for templates. Oh, it doesn't. Then we're gonna need to copy something from the Wikidata.
Add that.
Indeed. But that gives me an opportunity to show the SparkQL book on Wikibooks, because it's another great resource, not only for Wikidata SparkQL, but for SparkQL in general. So this should be under Wikidata specific services, data representation. There we got a link, that's nice. Subqueries, templates, federated queries, and yeah, okay, below under services here, we got something service MediaWiki API, and that's what we're looking for. And this is essentially a service that allows us to use that type of core MediaWiki services inside of SparkQL. So this is something for querying for category members, and that's the example they got here. So we're gonna need to modify this one. That should, let's see if I remember this in my head. So this is English Wikipedia. We just want wikidata.org. And let's see, we actually don't want to pass on any information like that. We want a generator, that's true. I think this is used zero search, that's what it's called. Let's double check if there's a link to the documentation. Yes, there is. Okay, so from the SparkQL handbook, we can actually find to the proper user manual for this particular service. So let's see, find, is it something about search?
The first one, I guess, is the search.
Yeah. Oh, then I should just copy this one. I'm gonna copy the service, head over to the query. As you could see there, I didn't have the title feature because I haven't run this, so I couldn't find it. I'm gonna replace my service here. Entity search, you can see we search for cheese, but if I paste in this has BB statement thing, that should do the trick as well. I'm gonna clean up a little here, and I'm gonna put a limit on this because this will result in a lot of items. It was, I don't know,
37 million.
37 million, and we don't want the API to do that, but I think 500 because that's one API request.
Oh, very quick.
Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, but it did do what I wanted it to do. Maybe something like that. Server error. Oh, what's wrong with this one?
You removed the period.
I removed the period.
Well, yes, you took with the MAPI language colon or en. There's a period in the end, and there was a semicolon.
Oh. No. That's
No, but
not
when
it.
you removed the entire line, didn't you? When you got an error.
Yeah. Then. Oh, true. So that might be it. And that one I'm not sure, but I'm gonna keep it.
No.
No, it's still server error. And still server error. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the documentation. This is what it is. Let's see what it actually does here. It searches for she's on the English on Wikidata. And it gives me the item out. And it gives us the type. So let's run this try. This should very much have the title. That's something someone can do in the documentation. Or maybe I will do it like in all of the documentation we got in various places, having that title so we can actually see it here. That would be super nice. Oh, so this actually works, which makes sense to me, but why does it work? That's the question. So if I remove everything unnecessarily here, not the limit, where does it break? A bit of debugging here. That gives us 20. This number here is just the ordering of the items. So essentially, what happens here is that it just gives us one item because it had the number 0. So if I remove this, will it break? I imagine so. Oh, interesting. So that works without that one, but OR query does not work without that. So if I do this, it will break. No, but still just give us one result. Okay, is this... Oh, right. Now I see what we are doing here. So it appears like, because if we see the queue number here, it's the queue number we're actually searching for here. So it appears that it's just returning, and we won't get the property here because we're saying here that we just want items. So I'm thinking this doesn't actually do the search magic here. It just do plain text search. And this is what this returns because we have the queue number here.
Is it because it's entity search instead of series search?
Yes, that's what I believe. So if we go here for to say, actually we got an example here for Wikipedia that just says search. That might be it, but let's search for no. So it has no mention of series search. It might just be search. And I still don't use the title one, so let's try this. Let's go back to the example. Find articles in Wikipedia. Yes, because did that change maybe? Yes, it did. Okay. We found it, I believe. So we need to copy that part. Or actually use that part. And we go here, we can actually compare this. You see we're using two different properties. And this properties translates to API parameters. So maybe this one, let's hope that This line, for example, still works when you use search and not entity search. And so let's see what it says. Or not, let's not see what it says because it's a lot. Okay, do we have a proper example here? Find articles in Wikipedia speaking about cheese, see which wikibase they correspond to. Not exactly what I was looking for. Then let's see if I just happens to have it bookmarked, BDQS. I always bookmark them like that, and then do generator. Let's see here. Generator. We got a bunch of generator. That's for an article, it seems like. I haven't named those. And that's for a search. Article. Let's see, what could I more have there? Search, of course. Oh, no results. Still no. Oh, interesting.
I think Cirrus is with 2R.
Let's see if that's why we don't find it in the documentation. No. This is so odd that it's not in the documentation. We got search, full text search in Wiki. That's what we want. Output title. Is it that we are just getting the title and need to convert that maybe? So this is what we're getting in the output. Yes, so here, let's replace this. So we're doing something like that instead. So say the API output should have something called title rather than item here, because it doesn't convert the queue number automatically to an item. This seems to, oh, I don't have a limit. I actually gonna, oh, 10,000. That was not intentional, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so this is it. Essentially, this only returns the title of the page. So use the queue number in Wikidata's case, and for Wikipedia article, it's the title rather than the URL. So we actually need to convert this to an item. We use that again with bind, which we showed earlier, and we're gonna use the concat again. So we're just gonna combine the URI prefix for items, add on the queue number, and we will get that VD item, essentially, the VD representation. So concat, and here it is HTTP. Oh, let's do string. HTTP colon like that. Is it just wikidata.org / entity / just like that. Then we want the queue number. So here we say title, because it's essentially the page title, and here we say item as item. Let's see, and that's not correct yet, because this would still just be a string. We have to turn it into URI. So we do URI here, and that's not correct, Albin. That should go there. We have a limit to 10, so it should be rather fast, like that. And something isn't correct.
I think it's www.
Yes. Because if I run this now, it should just say that VD. Yes, exactly. Because hidden here in SparkQL, it actually defined this VD as this is just a shortcut for this. And that's similar what it does here with MWAPI, with VD for Blazecare Wikibase and VDT and all of that. That's just shortcuts for something that's essentially a URL. Okay, now we got items. We can actually start playing with something. So item, and it went really fast. So essentially, in that query, it limited to just scientific papers that tens of millions, and it's just a lot faster way to do things. So here we can go, and actually I can cheat even more because I don't need to say main subject glacier. What I can do is to say here glacier, because if I copy this search string here, and this is just a search string as used in Wikidata, it will first evaluate this. So does it have instance of scientific paper? And then it will go and do just a regular search for glacier within that subset, return of the first part. Or it should, let's see, yes. So here you can see a rather known paper about a large glacier inventory. And here we got another paper including glacier. But essentially what I want to achieve here when I get all of the items here is to being able to find, is this about a particular glacier, and then can I link it? So first here I'm gonna now is the time to add the service, because I want to see like the title of the paper, and that should be it.
Mm-hmm.
That should give us that. Let's see here. Item label. That's all I want. The title isn't interesting because it's just the Q number. So let's run that. It should be very fast. Usually. Can't really say that today. But we essentially got the exact same result as we got in the search interface. So the same first one, the same second one. It uses all of that features, but all within search here. But now I actually want to work on the title. So I want to be able, okay, what are the characteristics of a title that includes a place name? And essentially, this works for all named entities, so we will get a couple of false positives this way. But what I want to check for is, does it has an uppercase charter that isn't the first one? So for example, if I just type here, glacier T glass. Oh, it is an example. Glacier title paper X. So X. This is just a regular title, but if it has a location name, it won't look like this. It might say glass year. Title paper about X, because X is a location and then has an uppercase letter. So that is something I want to do. I think you can actually do that in Cyrus Search with regex, but I will do it in Wikidata Sparkle because I just happens to know that a little easier. But then there is a tricky part here, because if we do it this way, we need to not only look for the label and display it by just mentioning it here. We actually need to access item label inside of our query. And what people usually do is they use the label service. One could actually just use the RDF as well. But I'm gonna add it here. Let's see what's the BD service param. Oh, doesn't it want to autocomplete it? No? Okay. I'm gonna do it myself. Wiki base, I believe. This it should be auto-completed. No? Okay.
The list is long.
Yeah, but why does it autocomplete service when I have Wikibase
There's
here?
service in it.
Oh, of course. Okay, so here are the various Wikibase properties at least. Let's see, I don't know it in my head. Let's see if I can recognize it. Can I? URL string, multilingual text. I don't think that's it. Rank badge. Nope, nope. So I'm gonna do it the other way around because we got this Wikidata query service user manual and it has documentation of the label service because the label service can do a couple of things that we don't use that often and aren't in that many examples. So if I go here, Wikimedia service, that's
No, it's
not.
higher up. There you have it.
Oh, it's even the first extension here, label service. So here is just essentially what we usually type when we want to access it from the select part. Here we also see the demonstration of the shortcut feature we were talking about. Wikibase here is just a shortcut for this part. But let's go down here. We should have a proper example. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, so actually we select the RDF property we want to use. So if I head back here, I'm gonna explain it. So essentially, we got an item here, and that item has a bunch of properties with various names in various languages. One of them is RDF, yeah, right. Label, it's a super common one in RDF, and this is essentially the label. But if you didn't have the label service and didn't have something specified here, you would need to type item RDF label point and then do filter like, and then check if the language of that item label matches. So we need to look through all of those RDF labels, and the label service essentially allows us to skip that. So there we go. We got the item label and we can actually use it here. Now I actually want to use a filter here. But I need to check if there is a word starting with a large letter that is followed by another word that is just glacier. Because that's my thinking. Like if there is a name and then glacier, that's the name of a glacier. Something that we can pinpoint. So we need to write a regex for that, and regex can be rather tricky. So I use a tool often to write that. I'm gonna copy this because even if this would be false positive, it's a good example of the technique. We have a word here starting with a large uppercase letter, followed by the word glacier. So I will head off to service I used to write regex. And I use this for all kind of stuff because this is super nice. It's an interactive environment for writing regex. So what I can do here, here's the string I want to match things in. So I paste it in like that. And then this default regex shows directly here what it matches. So if I go here, I can change my query until I see that it matches what I want to select. And we actually got a cheat sheet here, so we can actually see what. So let's start with selecting a word. And a word would be star, big one. And where does it do that? Large one, not word, dict. Okay, so this is a negative. Not word, dict, or white space. So it's essentially selected a white space here. And then we got V for just the word, and essentially everything here could be a word, so that's what it does. But I want to select, there should be a space or like the start of the line, which if I look here, I can see start end of string, so it should be a space, which I've already typed, or the start of the string. Let's see if I can I copy that from here instead, because my keyboard doesn't play this game today. So start of string followed by space. So if I would make a space, oh, yeah. So if I would make a space here, it would select it because the start of the string and the space. But that's not really what I want, but I want or here. So I think we can do or like this. So start of the string or a space. And then I can write what I want to accomplish here. I can actually group this first to make that independent of what I type now. So now I want a large letter. And let's have a look again at this. Can we select the uppercase with something here? Charter between, not word, back reference, capture group, more than, a few is possible. No, it doesn't show us anything. Then we are making a search on the internet. Uppercase match. And hopefully we get a bit of a Stack Overflow answer. Okay, so that's how we do it. So essentially what we need to say is that it should select A2. All of the English alphabets that are uppercase because I wrote them in uppercase. And now we can already see that it selected all of that. And then I want it to select all of the word. So here I do dot plus, selects everything. I want slash v plus. And we can see if I hover the groups now, it just selects glacier and forward. And here I want to select followed by space. So actually space goes here. And here goes glacier, but not in the group, but just the word. So let's see, it should be like this. But this is still not, so if I make this uppercase, we can see that it selects exactly what we want here. This is what the pattern we want to detect inside of our SparkQL. So let's see, how do we ignore the casing of this letter here? Because if I do like this, it doesn't match. Is it maybe with a flag? Case insensitive? Yes. Oh, but here it broke. Yeah, because then it ignores that. Okay. So that's not what we want. So, okay, we wanted to ignore that particular space. Yes. So what I can do here is, because if it might have a large G here, we can say or here. So small or large. And this is it. Now we're gonna need to head over to a query because we have used this tool to essentially build our regex. Now we want to use this in SparkQL. Okay, that's all great. That's not the right query because I still don't use the title feature, which I have shown today. So I'm gonna paste this in a comment here for now. But then I think it's pretty much regex. It gives us the red color. It's a function at least. So I'm gonna take that regex. I actually want to look up the documentation for regex here. So I'm gonna head back to the SparkQL handbook, which I hopefully have in this tab. Yes. So I'm gonna head over to SparkQL, and it has a list of various functions here we can use. And my pointer is lost. And now my pointer is back. Okay. So scrolling down here, expression and functions, because I don't know this in my head. Regex. The function checks if the string matches the pattern. It's mostly commonly used in a filter. Do we have an example here? Yes, we do. So filter, item label, for example, followed by just by the regex. So I'm just gonna paste in my regex, but it was as a string, I believe. But first we got the item label, and here we got comma the regex. Let's run this. And it complains because I haven't escaped this one. Let's hope that this works, otherwise we are likely gonna end a little early or before we got a result there. Oh, it broke. That's really annoying today.
I think you have a parenthesis too much compared to the example in the...
Yes, but I think this is equal to this.
It should be the same. All right.
Oh, but right. Indeed. Now when I do this, I have a leftover. Let's see if I click. Oh no, I don't have a leftover because that's the parenthesis for the regex function. So if I run this, it should do the same thing. But this doesn't give me an error. So what I believe here is that it actually doesn't feel like it matches anything. So it might be that if I give it a bit more, I still imagine it won't give me anything because we saw that that first one would give me something. What I believe is that this regex function does not evaluate the regex here the same way as this tool I used. That sometimes happens. I'm gonna head over to see if
they have double. Does that matter?
No.
That doesn't
But
matter.
something I see here is that we can see that it has a third parameter here for flag that says I. So if I head back over here, let's at least use single one. And then let's see if it says flags here. We can say that it says global because that's a regex flag. So let's add that and see if that does the trick. Oh, I still got 100. That's a little unnecessary. Oh, still nothing. Okay, so this essentially doesn't match. This is really annoying today. And because it worked earlier. Quickly, do I see directly? No, I do not. Will I resolve it? No, I won't. Okay, we got a bit stuck here. But the principle is, and this should work.
But is it, you have dots in there. No, I'm reading it wrong. No, sorry. It wasn't anything.
Okay. But there should be two ways to do this. You should be able to do it here with the filter regs on the label. But you can also do it directly in the Cyrus search. However, I'm not sure that works in Wikidata because the title is technically the queue number. So that might break it here. But I have used this technique before. It just happens to be that the regex here doesn't exactly match the same way that this tool matches it, which sometimes happens because this is using, for example, a regex engine, as it's called, what turns this into an actual parser for JavaScript, and this uses one for Java. And those are two very different things. But we're going to get back to this in a future episode, I promise you. But I won't solve it tonight because it's also getting late, which is kind of annoying. But in case, what I essentially wanted to do here, if that this would have created a bunch of matches, not only would I had, being able to have the results, but I also wanted to do what we did previously when you had a clickable link, so that, okay, here we actually found a Glassdoor name. Now turn that name into a search, Wikidata search, which I can use click and to discover, can I match this directly with something? So that's the goal here, but we are gonna continue that another time, but I will still share the query here because it's not entirely unlikely. It happens quite often that one of you get back to me in a couple of hours and have solved the issue I have run into. So
And even without it, you have the novel thing with the MWAPI.
Exactly. So
MWAPI.
I think we have shown this once before, but it's still a super nice trick, especially for scientific papers. But combined with this, it becomes very powerful. And we also got the trick I showed earlier that used when we differentiate between authors using the tool I showed last week, essentially. So this will be continued, but for now, keep on querying.
Yeah. So we will be back next week as well, and since it's the Arctic Knot conference, we're gonna try to focus a little bit on languages because that's an entire conference about minority languages in particular. So we'll see what we'll figure out to do until then.
Yeah, I have a bunch of ideas, mostly related to languages and statistics. Can we find gaps in data and things like that?
And I think already I can reveal that I'm going to try to do some hands-on editing of lexemes, connecting Swedish things and Sami lexemes.
I think it's very likely that I will also work on Sami languages, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I might also do some actual editing.
Nice. All right. And until then, happy editing.
Happy editing.